Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Marketing Minute. Today, we are going to be discussing your BoldTrail website, specifically your website settings, so that it can be set up properly, it will display in a nice format, and you can have all of your metadata included so that you have good SEO. So, to begin with, we're going to head over to the Resource Center. That's the best way to log into BHHS Connect or BoldTrail. To get to your website, you're going to Web and IDX on the left-hand menu here. As soon as you get to Web and IDX, you'll see that you have your website settings tab. You can search through some of these other tabs as well, but for today, we're going to stick just to website settings and go through this together. So let's scroll through and I'll tell you what you need to know and what you should adjust. To begin with, you will be set up with a site template. Home services template is the default, but you can decide to choose one of these other default templates as well. So if you were to click through these, you can view, see what they look like. They have slightly different visual layouts. And if you were to choose one, you can hit choose and then you have to save. If you do save, you will remove all your widgets, just so you know. So if you have your website widgets already set up, it will do so. So I'm going to keep mine the way it is because I already have it set up the way I want it. There are additionally some premium templates that you can choose from, which do have a cost associated with them. So just know that. You can scroll through these and see if you want to upgrade your website look. You also have a template color. I have chosen custom because I wanted to add in our custom Cabernet color. But you can go through and choose the custom colors that you want. This is going to be your primary color, which can be added to buttons, certain elements across the home page. So I've gone in and I've added the RGB for our Cabernet color, 103057. That will establish the color for my website. Next, we have the background image selector. There are a number of backgrounds that are available to you right in the BoldTrail system. So I've gone through and I've checked the ones that I like. We're coming on summer, so I choose, or spring and summer, so I chose some more springy, nicer looking images. And you can go through all of them and decide which ones work best for you. You can see that I have some unchecked, the ones that I didn't necessarily want. So scroll through these, check mark them, and you'll be good to go once you hit save. You can also upload your own background images. So if you have properties that you want to highlight, if you want to highlight your own imagery, like a cover photo or something like that, you can absolutely upload that. Just make sure that it is 1600 pixels wide by 650 pixels tall. So that is very key for the best results. You can also add in another logo. By default, you will have your DBA logo. So if you're a part of Michigan Real Estate, you'll have the Michigan Real Estate logo, Northern Indiana, Tommy Raines, Executive Realty, etc. You will have that logo established on your website, but you can also add in personal logos if you have them. Notice 512 by 512 pixels for the ideal image size there. Okay. Here's a couple things that you probably don't need to pay attention to as much, but you can hide certain things from your website. So the resources page or resources tab, you can hide the website content accessibility guidelines. You can also hide. I wouldn't recommend that. I also wouldn't recommend hiding the resources page. You can hide your office address. I don't know why you would. You can hide the print flyer button. Again, these are things that are just only going to be a value add, so I wouldn't necessarily get rid of them. So, but you can obviously pick and choose what you think is best. Okay, next we have forced lead registration. I do not recommend this for anybody, as this could actually deter people from wanting to sign up or get in contact with you. Whenever a pop-up comes up, that's immediately like a little bit of a red flag for people when they're on websites. So I actually recommend don't ask for website visitors to register. However, there are some additional settings that you can choose from. So you can have prompt required registration after one property view. You can require registration after a specified number of property views. So if you wanted to choose this and maybe select like after 3 or after 5, you could do that. You can also prompt registration, but do not require visitors to register. This one I don't necessarily recommend either. So I would stick with this. That's my personal preference. Once you're done, you hit save and you're good to go. Again, this is another registration scenario here. So this would have your customers mandate a phone number when they actually log in or sign up for something on your website. That can also deter people from viewing your website. A lot of people will see a larger bounce rate and your lead capture rates might decrease as well. So just know that you can turn it on, but it's not necessarily a positive or a negative. You have to kind of gauge it and how you want to run your business and get leads. Okay, ask for the name. When this is enabled, a new space will appear for the registration from where users can enter their name, but they don't have to fill it out to create an account. So that's a little bit on lead routing, forced lead registration, things like that. I would kind of keep those to a minimum just so that you're not deterring people from looking at your website. All right, next we have website title and we have homepage meta description. These are two important things to make sure that Google is indexing your site with the proper information. So if somebody searches for you on Google by name, these things will pop up when your website pops up. So website title, I always recommend having your name in there, some sort of real estate term. So I have realtor in there. And then I also have the company that I work for. So Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Michigan Real Estate. Hit save when you're done. Same with the homepage meta description. I like to have my first and last name so that it's more searchable. I have Grand Rapids Realtor, so I'm a little bit more location specific so that when people search, they can actually find Grand Rapids people like me. And then I also have, with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Michigan Real Estate, so who I work for, and just a little bit about what I do. So helping buyers and sellers navigate West Michigan homes with expert guidance and trusted service. So, I've gone with the guidance, service, trusted, expertise. I've also added in West Michigan to keep it hyper localized. So this is a good meta description, and you want to keep these short and sweet. You do not want them to be excessively long because they won't even be able to be viewed in search results. Once you're done, hit save. Okay, when sellers are on your site and they're searching for an address, you can also add have the property unit number. So I just have this turned on. I think it's turned on by default, so just keep that on. You don't necessarily need to do recruiting text unless you are actively recruiting new agents. So for teams, for example, you could recruit more agents for your team, managers. If you are recruiting and you want to have a recruiting section on your page, you can add some recruiting text here, hit save, and that will display on your website. You can also add custom header code if you want to. This would be like pixels. If you have like Google Console script, things like that to index your site, you can add those in here as well. Those will go to the header, but it's not necessarily something you have to do in order to have this load properly or index properly. Custom body code, if you want to add additional code in there as well. I don't suspect that a lot of people will be doing this, but if you do have a web background, that's great. Footer code as well, you can add that in. Conversion code, if you have conversions set up on, say, like a Google Analytics or a Google Ads, this can be helpful for you as well. So Facebook, Google, those are the typical codes that you would get. Custom chat widget. By default, it is actually going to use Facebook Messenger for chat. I like this because I actually go on Facebook Messenger for a lot of chat functionality. I chat with a lot of my clients, people, and friends on there. So I like that this is available, but if you don't use Facebook Messenger a lot, you can also add your own chat messenger script in here. So if you have something already built with another system, third-party chat system, you can add that in as well. And then for the chat, you can just add in your Facebook ID or your basically the URL, and it will find that chat. So whenever people click on the chat feature on your website, it will default to going to Messenger. So that's what I have there. Okay. Additional office address, you do not need to add this because it's already going to be defaulted to your main office address. You also have a compliance privacy policy page that is linked from your home page and all of your site pages. So I just added the phone number in here. This is my office phone number. So this is just for compliance. Okay, you also have the email. So you can also add the compliance privacy policy page. You can have your email associated with it as well. This is a locked feature, so you don't need to worry about this. This is all compliance as well. I would keep these checked. For valuation, if anyone does a home valuation on your site, you can require that there is a lead capture for that home valuation. I actually do recommend having this so that you can get a lead into your CRM by doing this. So whenever anyone goes to the valuation on the sell page, they will have to be prompted to fill out that form and it will go to your CRM. Okay, testimonials next. You have a testimonials section on your homepage. You can choose to hide those Zillow reviews. I do not recommend that. I highly recommend that you have your Zillow connected in some way. So you can do that by connecting by email, or you can choose your screen name. I think the email is going to be better just because it'll be more specific to you. Other people could have similar screen names to you, so there could be some confusion. So I would definitely do that and hit save. And then you can have Zillow reviews find themselves on your website. You don't really need to worry about inheriting child testimonials. This will be like office, team, company websites, things like that. I would just keep this unchecked. You also have some additional options for your template. So you can add in a YouTube ID with basically a YouTube video. So you can get the shareable link from a YouTube video and you can actually share that onto your website. So I do recommend that if you have a video that is worth sharing. Some more template things, you can add full width widgets. I like to use this just so that they're going the full width of the page. You can change the colors, the primary color. You can hide the office name on homepage if you want to. I wouldn't recommend that for compliance issues. You can use a square agent cover image. I have it, I believe, as a circle, maybe a square. I can't remember exactly, but you can choose this. You can always preview your website by looking at it and seeing what it looks like from the consumer perspective. You can hide your agent cover image. Wouldn't necessarily recommend that for your homepage. You can use a dark background, large background. So I would just leave these checked because they are checked by default. And it does look pretty nice. Okay, custom navigation. You can add your own custom page links. If you wanted to add another navigation item in the menu of your website, you can do so by adding those links and hitting save. You can also change the names of what's able to navigate on your menu. So search is something that I have, sell, finance, resources, agents, we're hiring, and etc. So you can change the naming if you want it to be slightly different. I believe I did change a couple things, and once you're done with each one, you hit save. You will have to do that individually by saving. You can't just save all of them at once. So I do recommend that. Going forward, I wouldn't necessarily recommend hiding any tabs from people unless it's like, for example, the hiring page. I don't necessarily need that because I'm not trying to hire agents to my team, nor am I a manager or recruiting agents to our office. So I don't necessarily need to have that on my site. Listing carousels. So I like to show the address on the carousel tiles. You can keep that on. When it comes to the homepage listing carousel, you can actually establish the names. So there are a few different things that you can add in there. My listings, just listed, and just reduced are what I've chosen, but you can always go in and choose a different default for what is shown in that listing carousel. But those work for me. If you do use Google Analytics, you can add your Google Analytics ID here, hit save when you're done, And then you can also have all of your data and insights go to Google. I will say you do have a full service analytics reporting suite within here. If you go to vitals, you can get a lot of good information about your website, bounce rate, how your performance campaigns are doing, all sorts of good stuff. Okay, when it comes to agents, as an agent, I don't necessarily want to be promoting a bunch of other agents on my website, so I actually hide the agent roster from my website, just so that people aren't prompted to go find someone else other than me. So this one you can leave unchecked, but you can go ahead and check hide agent roster. I wouldn't necessarily recommend hiding your agent section from the listing page. I do think that that is powerful. You can also add a homepage custom tagline. This is going to go right above your search. So I have my custom tagline, Educate, Empower, Elevate with Sisu Powered Real Estate. I'm very finished, so I like the term Sisu. You can also remove the realtor name and symbol from your agent name if you want to. I don't necessarily recommend that. Then when it comes to listings, we can choose the type served. So I am not a commercial agent, so I don't have that checked. I do land. I don't necessarily do auctions or industrial. Rentals I'm not super familiar with. Duplexes, boat slips, backup. I mean, these are all things that I don't necessarily do. But for the most part, I have selected these, like single family manufactured, pending, land, condos, commercial lease, residential lease, contingent. I might add rentals in there, multifamily, lot, land, cooperative, and coming soon. So I'll hit save with that and move on to the next section. All right, this is actually important because your defaults may differ. So depending on how you like to display your MLS data, this is like a deduplication section. So you can actually deduplicate listings that are on multiple MLSs, and that can happen. So I have, first and foremost, my primary MLS as Michigan Regional Information Center, so MISHRIC. That is my number one. And anything outside of that is going to be deduplicated. But if I don't find the listing on there and I want to display listings, I have a couple other ones prioritized as well. So it's going to go down the list of priority from 1 to 10, or 1 to 11, excuse me. These are all of the MLSs in Michigan and Northern Indiana that we serve. So I've kind of gone through, and you can use these arrows to like move things down or up. You can see Greater Lansing is now down there. I'm going to move it back up because I'm actually from the Greater Lansing area, so I know that area very well. So I would prefer to have that there. And then you can hit save, and then you will have the priority established for deduplication. But I would absolutely have your main MLS board as the top slot here, and then hit save when you're ready. Coverage only. This only allows listings from predetermined areas chosen by your company to appear on your website. I actually have this unchecked because I want listings from all over to be able to be available to my customers and clients. Don't scrub areas. You can turn this on. So leaving this toggle on allows the system to find misspelled listings and group them together with those spelled correctly. So this is actually highly recommended that you leave this on, because if for some reason a listing isn't spelled correctly and it's not being found, it will actually pull that back into the group of listings that it is associated with, and it will display correctly for you. You can also hide manual listings on your website. I don't necessarily recommend this. You can use polygons for neighborhoods and schools. So I do recommend this because this will give geographical areas for those school districts and neighborhoods, and make it a little bit easier for your customers and clients to search. Now, the default listing sort settings. So this is how they sort the listings that are displayed on your featured listings. You can have it by price, high to low, low to high, beds, baths, footage, acreage, number of pictures, walkability, popularity, reductions, or days on website. For some of you, you might want to have the higher price on there as well. Default listing display. I like to have the map. You can also have list or grid. I like map so people can kind of interact with the map and find listings in the areas that they like. Hit save. And then there's some extra search filters as well. I've added waterfront, and then you can always add additional ones that you do not see. So that is website settings. It's pretty straightforward. Go through, make sure all those website settings are correct. And then once it's all said and done, you can go and view your website. So this is me previewing my website. You can see that some of those background images are going to come through. I believe it's set to like 3 or 5 seconds for the change. So this will eventually change over. But I have a couple different widgets in there. I've got my agent bio section. And you can see that the primary color, Cabernet, is what I chose. That's actually established on all of the buttons and a lot of the text as well. That's all I have for you today. Make sure you go in there, go to Web and IDX in your left-hand menu, and you will find your website. Adjust those website settings, get it all set up so that when you go to the next section, which would probably be widgets, you're all ready to go. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.